What's going on, everybody? In today's video, I'm going to be doing a very special one. I'm going to be doing my 2022 NFL mock draft. I'm not going to do trades in this. This video will just include the first round, and then I'll do a video tomorrow for the second round. So let's begin. With the first pick of the 2022 NFL draft, the Jacksonville Jaguars select Aiden Hutchinson, an edge from the Michigan Wolverines. Aiden Hutchinson, he's viewed as a can't-miss kind of hit. He's a great pass rusher, great at stopping the run. He had 14 sacks to finish his career in college. With the second overall pick, I have the Detroit Lions selecting Kyle Hamilton, the safety from Notre Dame. This may surprise some of you and a lot of people. Most people do not have Kyle Hamilton going this high in the draft because mainly, he's a safety. But what a lot of people would agree with, and I viewed this myself, I think Kyle Hamilton may be the best overall player in this draft. He won't go number one most likely, simply because he's a safety and Aiden Hutchinson is kind of more at an important position. But Kyle Hamilton's versatility in his 24 games for the Irish, he posted 63 tackles, 4 that were tackle for losses. He had 5 interceptions and 12 pass deflections. Kyle Hamilton at 6'4", 219 pounds is a very physical player at the safety position, but still very versatile. With the third pick of the draft, I have the Houston Texans selecting Sauce Gardner, cornerback from the Cincinnati Bearcats. Now, this may seem like an early surprise too, but I think there's a very good chance that the Texans take Ahmad Gardner because here's the deal. Lovie Smith is the new head coach of the Houston Texans, and Lovie Smith is a defensive-minded head coach who loves cornerbacks, and he may not be able to resist to not take a guy like Ahmad Gardner, a transcendent type of corner talent. With the fourth pick of the draft, the New York Jets select Trayvon Walker, an edge rusher from Georgia. Trayvon Walker, he's gotten a lot of hype over the last couple of drafts. Over the last couple of weeks. He was projected as kind of like a late first round kind of pick. But recently, even some people believe he could go number 1 overall. I think that hype is a little bit overboard. It's really a projection kind of a pick. But he's tremendously versatile, and he has just a good burst for a guy who's close to 300 pounds. Coming in with the fifth pick of the NFL draft, I have the New York Giants selecting Evan Neal, offensive tackle from the Alabama Roll Tide. Evan Neal, for the longest, was looked at as the for sure number 1 overall pick for the Jacksonville Jaguars, but then the Jacksonville Jaguars franchise tagged their left tackle Cam Robinson, which probably means they used a franchise tackle on their left tackle. They're not going to draft a left tackle. So Evan Neal, someone who is so massive, no one questions his versatility, which makes him very dangerous. And it makes sense that the Giants take him because they definitely need some offensive line help. With the sixth pick of the draft, I have the Carolina Panthers selecting Kenny Pickett, a quarterback from the Pittsburgh Panthers, funny enough. This is a tough one to call, what the Carolina Panthers will do here. I can totally see the Panthers trading back in the draft, but, Kenny Pickett is the safest quarterback pick in this year's draft, and with Matt Rule heading into the hot seat this season, he may feel desperate to pick a franchise-altering kind of player, which Kenny Pickett isn't as exciting as any of the quarterbacks in last year's first-round draft, but he is really the closest thing to that could change the culture of the Panthers and that can save Matt Rule's job. But I could also easily see them picking a Malik Willis here, but I think Kenny Pickett is a little bit more of a safer pick. With the seventh pick of the draft, I have the New York Giants selecting Kayvon Thibodeaux, the edge from Oregon. Kayvon Thibodeaux has been getting a lot of bad, attention recently for putting his media name over actual football. I don't know where that's came from. I don't know why. I think, yeah, you're going to advertise yourself if you're about to go into the NFL. Who wouldn't? But Kayvon Thibodeau is still a transcendent edge rushing talent, and the Giants could use that, putting him next there to Leonard Williams. With the 8th pick of the draft, I have the Atlanta Falcons selecting Malik Willis, quarterback from Liberty. Look, the Falcons right now, their quarterback is Marcus Mariota. They do not have a future plan. I could see them picking a guy like Malik Willis, who I think could fit in well to an Arthur Smith system. Malik Willis is probably also the most mobile quarterback in this year's draft, and mobile quarterbacks are very valued today. With the 9th pick of the draft, I have the Seattle Seahawks selecting. I have the Seahawks selecting Akeem Uweknu from North Carolina State, an offensive tackle. I hope I pronounced that right. But obviously the Seattle Seahawks are in a rebuild kind of a situation right now, and I think this left tackle, who's been getting great reports from scouts, will be the best option for them there. With the 10th pick of the draft, the New York Jets select Jordan Davis, D-tackle, Georgia. Robert Saleh, the head coach of the Jets, a defensive-minded head coach. I think he saw what he was able to do with a good D-line in San Francisco 3 years ago, and Jordan Davis could help him get that kind of production back. Jordan Davis is a 340-pound, 6'6" D-tackle, and he has a lot of swagger for. This guy would be a for sure pick if he's still there at number 10, which I believe he will be. Coming in at number 11, with the 11th pick of the NFL draft, Garrett Wilson, I have been selected by the Washington Commanders, a wide receiver, Ohio State. Probably no one would argue that he's not the best receiver, or at least the best prospect for this draft. I think the Washington football team desperately wants a receiver in this draft because they have Terry McLaurin, but that's about it at receiver. And Terry McLaurin, his entire career, has been going up against every team's number one corner being double teamed because he's the only good target there. And now if he can get some of that tension off of him, put a guy like Garrett Wilson, that could be huge. Wilson's ability to run verticals, and just how physical he is when he has to jump up and go get that ball in those 50-50 contested balls is amazing. With the 12th pick of the draft, I have the Minnesota Vikings selecting Derek Stingley Jr., cornerback from LSU. This makes a lot of sense. The Vikings need some cornerback help after Patrick Peterson, and Derek Stingley would make total sense. With the 13th pick of the draft, I have the Houston Texans selecting Jermaine Johnson, edge from Florida State. Jermaine Johnson, another guy who's kind of had a raise in the draft boards over the last couple of weeks, just because of a lot of the people have been watching film, looking at him, and I think there's reason to believe this guy can be a for sure hit in this year's draft. With the 14th pick of the draft, I have the Baltimore Ravens selecting wide receiver Chris Olave from Ohio State. Chris Olave has a lot of speed to him, very explosive, and in my opinion, the second best receiver in this draft. The Ravens have been searching for wide receiver help over the last couple of years. You pair this guy next to Rashad Bateman, and that could be a deadly wide receiver duo for the Ravens and Lamar Jackson and company. With the 15th pick of the draft, I have the Philadelphia Eagles selecting Drake London, wide receiver from USC. Drake London, go up there and go get it kind of receiver. Not a lot of speed to him. He is a guy that, some say that could be a potential, miss if taken mid-first round, because, he's a guy who lacks physical ability, meaning he can't really go up there and go get that ball. He can't, run down the field fast. He's not going to outrun anybody, but his physicality is what saves him. With the 16th pick of the draft, the New Orleans Saints select Charles Cross, the offensive tackle from Mississippi State. That makes total sense. The Saints lost their tackle, Teron Armstead. They need a replacement now, and Charles Cross would be a great selection for them. With the 17th pick of the draft, the Los Angeles Chargers select Devin Lloyd, linebacker from Utah. The Chargers have clearly made an effort to fix their defense this offseason, and drafting Devin Lloyd would help that even more. The Chargers' main weakness on defense currently is linebacker, and this is the best linebacker available in this draft, and it would make total sense for them to pick him. With the 18th pick of the draft, I have the Philadelphia Eagles selecting George Karlaftis, edge from Purdue, and put him there next to Fletcher Cox, and instantly the Eagles will generate more pass rush. With the 19th pick of the draft, I have the New Orleans Saints picking Jameson Williams, the exciting wide receiver out of Alabama. Obviously, Jameson Williams tore his ACL in the national title game, which has brought down his draft stock. Before, he was a for sure top 10 pick. This guy might be the most explosive player in the entire draft, and really close to Tyreek Hill-like kind of speed. But the torn ACL is definitely going to scare some teams, and I do think he will fall a bit in this draft, but the New Orleans Saints will definitely take him because they can use some wide receiver help. With the 20th pick of the draft, I have the Pittsburgh Steelers selecting Matt Corral, quarterback out of Mississippi. I don't think the Steelers are all in with Mitchell Trubisky as the future. I think Mitchell Trubisky is looked at to them as a bridge quarterback, and if Matt Corral falls to them, I think they will for sure take him. With the 21st pick of the draft, I have the New England Patriots selecting Andrew Booth Jr., cornerback from Clemson. The Patriots, for the first time in a long time, are thin at the cornerback position, and Bill Belichick loves his cornerbacks and loves corners who can play in any sort of a scheme, and that's exactly what Andrew Booth Jr. can do. He can play in any scheme. He can play in a cover 3, he can play in a cover 2, he can play in a cover 1, which is Belichick's main thing. This guy would be a great fit for the New England Patriots. With the 22nd pick of the draft, I have the Green Bay Packers selecting Treylon Burks, the wide receiver from Arkansas. Obviously, the Green Bay Packers need a lot of help at wide receiver right now. Their wide receiver depth chart right now is Sammy Watkins 1, Randall Cobb 2, and Allen Lazard 3. That will not cut it, and this pick would make them a lot of sense. Number 23 overall pick, I have the Arizona Cardinals selecting Daxton Hill, the safety from Michigan. This pick makes a lot of sense for the Cardinals. The Cardinals right now are missing, they need another safety. They're missing like that strong safety hybrid that would line up opposite of Budda Baker. And then to add to that, they're also thin at quarterback, and Daxton Hill can play both of those positions. He can play safety and cornerback, and he's a guy that you can move around a lot in your secondary, so he can help fill both of those positions for them this season. With the 24th pick of the draft, I have the Dallas Cowboys selecting Kaiir Elam, cornerback from Florida. Kaiir Elam, he's raised in draft boards over the last couple of weeks. This guy was a mid-second round pick kind of guy, but his just overall ability, his physical traits, his size, his speed, everything has made him a very intriguing prospect. He can work on his mechanics a bit, but this guy could be a great hit for the Cowboys and a great guy to line up opposite of Trayvon Diggs. With the 25th pick of the draft, I have the Buffalo Bills selecting Nakobe Dean, the linebacker from the Bulldogs. The Bills need help being able to stop the run. They added Von Miller to help do that. They hope Gregory Rousseau can take a leap in year 2, and now adding a linebacker like Nakobe Dean would be smart. With the 26th pick of the draft, I have the Tennessee Titans selecting Trevor Penning, the offensive tackle from North Iowa. This is a team that I could see trading up for a quarterback. A lot of that's been a rumor of late, but I'm gonna have them here picking Trevor Penning because Taylor Lewan is just not the same anymore as we saw last season. With the 27th pick of the 2022 NFL draft, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers select Trent McDuffie, a cornerback from Washington. The Bucs need some help in their secondary, and Trent McDuffie can definitely do that. With the 28th pick of the draft, I have the Green Bay Packers selecting Perrion Winfrey, the D tackle from Oklahoma. The Packers need some help on their front seven. They've lost some guys on the D line. They need some help at linebacker, and Perrion Winfrey can definitely help them at the D tackle position. With the 29th pick of the 2022 NFL Draft, the Kansas City Chiefs select Arnold Ebiketie, the edge rusher from Penn State. The Chiefs need some edge rush help, particularly an edge rusher opposite of Frank Clark, and Arnold Ebiketie would be the best available at this point. With the 30th pick of the draft, I have the Kansas City Chiefs selecting Roger McQuarrie, a corner from Auburn. The main problem with Roger McQuarrie is he lacks size, and that can be tough against those big physical wide receivers in the NFL, but you know, his speed is very strong, and I can see him being a great slot corner for the Kansas City Chiefs. With the 31st pick of the draft, I have the Cincinnati Bengals selecting Zion Johnson, offensive guard from Boston College. Zion Johnson, if he falls to the Bengals, would be perfect for them. Obviously, we all know what happened to them during this postseason. They had no help on the offensive line. I know they've signed some guys, but they can pair Zion Johnson on the opposite guard spot of La'el Collins, and that would be good for them. With the 32nd pick of the 2022 NFL Draft, I have the Detroit Lions selecting Desmond Ridder, quarterback from Cincinnati. Desmond Ridder apparently is the best quarterback on a lot of teams' boards. I do not buy into that a lot, but I do think if he falls to Detroit Lions at 32, he will be taken. I will continue this mock draft tomorrow with picking the second round. So comment down below what you guys think about this mock. Do you think how accurate do you think I will be? Other than that though, I will see you guys next time.